Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 1364.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about consumer sentiment being at a 7-month low. And that's important because consumers are what makes up the economy, 70% of the economy to be exact. So how consumers are feeling and the fact that they're not feeling as good about the economy as was expected is an issue and something we need to pay attention to. This article is from Josh Schaefer on Yahoo Finance. And he said that consumer sentiment tumbled in June despite largely resilient growth in the U.S. economy as higher prices remained a pain point for most Americans. The latest University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey released Friday showed sentiment hit its lowest level in 7 months during June. The index reading for the month came in at 65.6, which was down from 69.1 in May and lower than the 72 economists had expected. Assessments of personal finances dipped due to modestly rising concerns over high prices as well as weakening incomes, Survey of Consumers Director Joanne Su said in a statement. Overall, consumers perceived few changes in the economy from May. The current conditions fell from 62.5 from 69.6 the month prior, contributing to the decline in June's headline index. Capital Economics North America economist Olivia Cross said Friday's reading shows households are now struggling more under the weight of higher interest rates and still elevated consumer prices. Year-ahead inflation expectations were flat at 3.3% from the month prior. However, most respondents likely didn't have time to factor in recent positive inflation readings from May. The interview window for the survey spanned from May 22nd to June 12th. This means the last day consumers could submit survey responses was the same day that May's Consumer Price Index, or CPI, was released. Headline CPI rose 3.3% over the prior year in May, the lowest monthly headline reading since July of 2022, which is really great news because inflation has come down quite a bit, but it's still higher than the 2% that the Fed wants to see. On Thursday, after the survey window was closed, the Producer Price Index showed wholesale prices unexpectedly declined from the month prior in May. The press release noted that consumers were still concerned about high prices and year-ahead inflation expectations remained at 3.3%, Cross wrote in a note on Friday. That is at odds with price developments for essentials, given that gasoline prices have eased back, and we learned this week that the CPI Food at Home Index was unchanged in May. Broadly, the decline in the index represents a continued trend among consumers who are fed up with the higher prices regardless of whether inflation is cooling and the labor market remains on solid footing. During a press conference on Wednesday, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said it's hard for anyone to have a definite answer about the disconnect between Americans' feelings on the economy and the actual data. People experience what they experience, Powell said. All I can tell you is what the data show, which is we've got an economy that's growing at a solid pace. We've got a very strong labor market with unemployment at 4%. It's been a long time since we've had, a long stretch of time with unemployment at or below 4%. A very long time. He added that after a period of high inflation, price increases have come down significantly and the central bank is doing everything it can to restore price stability. Powell maintained that the Fed is confident inflation will return to its 2% target. In the meantime, it's going to be painful for people, Powell said. But the ultimate pain would be a long period of high inflation. Yeah, well, this data is important because the consumer is king, and the consumer, as I said, is 70% of the economy. So if the consumer is not optimistic about the economy, they're not going to make long-term purchases and spend if they don't feel confident in keeping a job, having income, how much debt they have, etc. So usually a trend of a lower consumer sentiment number can tell us that the economy is slowing. So this is something we need to follow and stay on top of, because if 70% of consumers don't feel they want to spend money, that can continue to lead us lower in confidence, which ultimately can result in a recession. So we'll stay monitoring that and reporting back to you. If you haven't yet subscribed to Be Wealthy and Smart, hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as new podcasts are available. And all of my podcasts are on my website at lindapjones.com/podcasts. And while you're there, sign up for my weekly newsletter for more wealth tips for your financial freedom. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.